everybody. We are here tonight. Well, today where Melanie is. We are here today with Melanie. We are going to be talking about her, we're going to be talking about her ascendant conjunct the GC for a GC diary entry. You want to say hey?
Hi.
Since we were just talking about this, but I have my questions on my phone and everything, but I feel like since you do have a pretty good handle on this, we're just gonna have more of a conversation this time, I think.
Sure.
So how do you feel like your ascendant conjunct the GC manifests for you?
Yeah, pretty hugely. Yeah. I was so relieved when I found out about it and started to, look into it, because it just made so much sense about how I feel and about why I'm so intense, I guess, about just feeling like everything is just so big. I feel like I just feel like I live always in an existential kind of level, and I always and that I've had these really strong experiences with light and dark, and always choosing and coming back to light, but really feeling like teetering on the edge of this very vast feeling. So I didn't find out about it or that I had a strong connection with it until I was already an astrologer and already way along the spiritual journey. But when I did, it just was like a huge relief to understand more about why I feel so spiritual and I'm just so obsessed with everything is that. So yeah, it manifests a lot for me.
We have talked about the light and the dark thing, and I think it's there is such a lightness and a darkness or a heaviness to it, right? That there absolutely is.
Yeah.
And the way that you actually came across this in your chart was a lecture, correct?
That's right. I really feel like it was a blessing, and that I was meant to go. So I live in Perth in Western Australia, and there was a national annual conference, astrology conference in Sydney. And normally I've never been to another one. I only went to that one. I just felt a real pull, that feeling. It's like I always know when there's a pull. It's a very specific feeling, and I always follow it. So because it's quite expensive and everything. And I went by myself, and I feel like the whole reason I went was I just rocked up to this lecture. There was so many lectures going on, and it was about the Galactic Center. And I think I'd read somewhere that it was around, 26, 27 Sag. And that was my ascendant. So I thought I'll just go along. So I went in, and the whole lecture was about how people with strong Galactic Center alignments are diabolical and have done many dastardly things in the world. And he had this big list of examples of all these dreadful things that people had done. And that was only about the diabolical, the dark side of it. And then he said, get out your charts and look at where you have 20. I know that there are some slightly different, it can be 26, 27, and there are all kinds of I don't know if anyone's completely certain but at any rate, I feel like he said this particular number because it was a message to me, not to make it all about myself, but I just feel like it was a message from the Galactic Center to me to say, wake up your Galactic Center. And he said, where's 27 degrees and 4 minutes? And I looked at my chart, and it said, and my ascendant, because I didn't remember the seconds of my ascendant, and it was 27 degrees 4 minutes. I went oh. And I was sitting near the front, and I said, and he looked at me because I gasped, and I said, oh my God, my ascendant is 27 4 minutes. And then he just went and then not look at me again. And then he went on to give this lecture about how diabolical people are with that. So after that, I looked into it more and more. There's not a lot, as you know. I'm so happy that you're doing this research and talking to people. I've loved listening to the other people on the diaries, because it just felt so good to connect with other humans, having GC experiences.
Yeah, because they really are. They do feel, obviously there are a lot of people that have GC contacts. The sort of GC experiences are very unique. the galactic experiences. They are very unique. And I love hearing people share their own, their own experience. But I think it's interesting though that guy was, just the diabolical side was all that was looked at.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, there can be, the GC does warp, it distorts, it mutates. Those don't have to be bad things, right? Those can be in wonderful ways, but I think it's interesting. He goes, after you say that,
yeah. It's like, don't worry, I won't kill you. Yeah. I feel like when I went back to Perth and I talked to my like spiritual mentor about it, and who was like, she's sort of, I think, is a master of, polarity and is unified. And she was just saying, it's like, it's so through the experience of like duality that we've had, where we have been pretty much in kind of shadow on the earth, I think, in what I believe in this big model that I found out about, which is also, I think, very much connected to the GC. In fact, it is based around the GC and how the Earth spin axis in space moves in alignment or away from the GC. And just that, it can, when we've been in like a more dense consciousness, we have kind of erred more to the diabolical, of it. But as we've in this big cycle turning back towards to face towards the light of the GC, it's now more natural, that we would go to the light. So I think, as it can go either way, and there's such an awareness of the polarity of the light and dark, or the separation and unity, and that it definitely doesn't have to be expressed as the devil.
No, no, not at all.
The divine,
and sometimes even it's not acknowledging that devil exists in the, you know what I mean, in the first place, that can kind of breed that shit, that diabolical shit, right? It's like if it's exposed, if it's okay, it exists, this is whatever, it can if light is shined on it, it can perhaps function better, or you know what I mean. I'm probably not like
exactly. No, I know exactly what you mean. And that's what I always think about it as well. And that whole, like, just thinking about that concept, it's like, because in my experience of it, what you just said is just how it is for how I perceive it, which is, and you mentioned earlier on like a tightrope, like walking on a tightrope of awareness of the vastness either side. But the truth is the light, and the dark is only, or the shadow, because dark is good, but the shadow is only there, like you said. It's like, do you put an awareness, and it has to be there for creation, or there's no contrast, but it doesn't. It's like a really weird like head screw paradox of like, it has to be there, it is there, but it's not even real, or it's only there to show you to affirm your light and be your light. It's only there for that. That's
exactly what I think it is. Like, in this realm, in this world, we're supposed to learn something about that. And so it's to show us what we're not.
Yeah, exactly.
And absolutely. And the tightrope thing, because your ascendant is right there, it does seem like that's specifically why I brought that up in the questions, because it does seem like with the ascendant there, and like other people, like I've known a few other people that have that there, and it does seem like they do feel like they're walking some kind of a tightrope at times, maybe not all of the time, but at times.
Yeah.
And obviously, choosing the lighter side of things, but they do feel like if they could fall the other way if they wanted to.
It's right there. Yeah. I really relate to that. Even though I haven't felt tempted to fall, I kind of have fallen anyway, but never wanted to, and came and managed to come back, and which was a big experience with the very much like I don't even, not because I'm scared of it, but because, again, like what we were just saying, it's like the acknowledgement and the fueling of what we are not. I learned, so it's not like, oh, I'm too scared, I want to even talk about it, but I learned I am the light. I stand for the light. I know what the shadow is there for. It is to have the experience of the light. And I really learned